D-Stacks beat?
Yeah, I got a D-Stacks beat. Listen to the beat, y'all. Come on, D-Stacks, bring it in. Hey, 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 hey. Woo! Queens on a roll. Ooh, queens on a roll. Powerful queens on a roll. Beautiful queens, queens, queens on a roll. We're moving, we're grooving, we're jamming, we're slamming. Queens on a roll. We're moving, we're grooving, we're jamming, we're slamming. Queens, queens, queens on a roll. She's educated and inspiring everyone that has challenges. Queens, queens, queens on a roll. She's educated and inspiring everyone and having fun. She's queens on a roll. Woo, queens on a roll. Ooh, queen on a roll. Powerful queens on a roll. Beautiful queens on a roll. Come roll with us. Ooh, come roll with us. Come roll with us. Ooh, come roll with us. Ooh, queen on a roll. Ooh, queen on a roll. Ooh, queen.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Queens on the Road podcast. This is Latavia here, and on today's episode, I am going to talk about why I have been away for so long. And to help me do that, I have my friend Dina here with me today. How are you, Dina?
Great. Just thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. But before we get into today's episode,
It's time for roll call.
So now I would like to say thank you to Ms. Shantae Usman. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. And now let's roll!
You got a D-Stacks beat? You got a D-Stacks beat? You got a D-Stacks beat?
So, Latavia, I have many questions, but let's start with what's on everyone's mind. What the heck have you been doing for over a year?
So you are so right, Dina. That is the burning question on everyone's mind. But the reason why I have not put out a podcast episode in almost a year is because I have become an advocate. So if you remember in my previous episodes, I discussed the Medicaid parity bill, that Medicaid was only reimbursing prosthetics and orthotics companies at a 1987 rate. And because of that, we are losing vendors that supply prosthetics and orthotics. So I planned rallies up in Albany and asked our legislators to pass the Medicaid parity bill. And between work as a speech language pathologist and my advocacy work, I just haven't been able to get to the episodes, but I greatly missed you guys, so I'm glad to be back.
So I'm noticing a glow. Anything else?
So in between work and all of my advocacy work, I had the wonderful opportunity of being one of the models for the Runway of Dreams Fashion Revolution, the 10th year anniversary. And I was just so grateful to be a part of this event because the Runway of Dreams Foundation is an organization that promotes inclusivity in the modeling industry and in the fashion industry. So I was just so grateful that I could be a part of promoting that inclusivity and that they chose me to be one of the models. And it will be a day that I will never ever forget. So shout out to the Runway of Dreams for the opportunity. I had so much fun, and thank you again.
Yes, Queen. Yes. I also heard you've been doing some speaking engagements.
I have as well. So SANUS, which is an advocacy organization, asked me to do a few keynote speeches for them. The Bronx DD Council, another advocacy organization, asked me to do a few speaking engagements for them. And all of these speaking engagements was to bring awareness about the Medicaid parity bill and what is happening to prosthetics and orthotics companies in the industry, and how we can galvanize together and stop this from happening by going to legislators asking them to pass this bill. And I also had a few speaking engagements from OPWDD. And the speaking engagement that happened earlier in the year was that I got to be on a panel with 1199 discussing the Medicaid parity issue. And with that came the opportunity to go to the Black and Hispanic Caucus. And if you ever have a chance to go there, you should. It was an amazing opportunity. I enjoyed every bit of it. And it was just so great to network with so many people, to network with legislators. I cannot wait to do it again if I ever get the opportunity. And I just want to say thank you to all the organizations that have asked me to speak thus far. It really means a lot to me, and it is such an honor, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Okay, so can you share more information about the process?
So there really wasn't a process in being selected for these speaking engagements. I just spoke at one speaking engagement, and then someone heard me that attended the event and wanted me to speak at another. So it was a bunch of networking. But what was really the start of all this, or the catalyst of all this, was first and foremost the man above. So I have to thank God for every opportunity. But it was really when we went to JK Prosthetics and Orthotics. Story time. So I was going for an appointment at JK Prosthetics and Orthotics, and my mom looked around the place and she was like, Tay, I think this place is getting ready to shut down. And I said, Mom, you think so? I don't think so. And she's like, yeah, I think so. It's like a ghost town in here. So we went to the owner, Mike Caputo, who was on my show previously, and we asked him if he was getting ready to shut down. And he said, yeah, but there's a bill in the New York State legislation that will help us, the Medicaid parity bill, but they haven't passed it in 4 years. So that's when I said enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of seeing services for us disappear. And I got right outside the shop and I did a video urging my supporters on TikTok, Instagram to help support in keeping JK open. And then Mike Caputo put on a rally for all of us the first time, and I attended that rally. But then I said, we need to do this again. We need to show legislators that this is important to us. So then I planned the second rally at JK Prosthetics and Orthotics Place, and I actually had News 12 Westchester come out. And in the news reporting, I said, and we're going to go up to Albany to demand that this bill get passed. And that's exactly what we did. We went up to Albany in January and then in March as big rallies. And the legislators were shocked because some of them believe that, we're such a small group of people that's why we don't tend to get things passed for us, because they just see us as a small group of people that we're kind of seen as expendable, so they keep making cuts at our expense. And so it was nice for all of us to go up there and say, hey, enough of this is enough. We need some things done for us. You can't keep cutting things for us, and we need to be heard now. And I strongly believe that if we continue to do this, if we continue to be persistent, we will make our voices heard. I believe this because I went up consistently from January all the way to June, and gratefully, we got the bill passed through the Assembly. Unfortunately, it did not get passed through the Senate, but nobody believed that we could do it because we were such a small group, but we did. So do you see how much persistency and perseverance paid off? And no, I'm definitely not going to give up. I'm ramping up to do it again. And this time we're going for the Assembly and the Senate, and the bill will get passed. So please join me on the efforts that I will begin to coordinate in the beginning of the year.
You got a D-Stacks beat? D-Stacks beat? D-Stacks beat?
I just would like to add, you asked if people could help you with fundraising.
Yeah.
And usually I say, no way can I just give you some money. But I did participate in that.
You definitely did.
Can you tell more about what that was like? Struggles, hardships, successes, yeah.
Okay, so full disclosure here, I didn't know anything about fundraising or even putting on a rally for that matter, so it really did take a village. I reached out to my cousin who has done some fundraising in the past, and she pointed me in the direction of Double Good, which is a company that helps you fundraise by helping you to sell popcorn as a team. But some of the struggles I think we faced was, it was hard to get people to join our team, and that's because people just felt weird about asking people for money, which I get. Another struggle was it was very difficult for us to get people to donate money. Because it was such a complex issue, I found that just advertising on Instagram or using social media at all didn't really help. I had to go old school and call people and explain what we were fundraising for and why it was extremely important, and then people graciously donated. So thank you to all the people out there who did donate. I greatly appreciate it. And all the people that helped us with every effort. Because of everyone getting involved, we were able to raise $5,000 the first time, $2,000 the second time when we planned those big rallies in Albany. And again, it's not like we had any knowledge of this whatsoever. We didn't. What we did was we reached out to people who have done this before and we asked them for guidance and advice. And we just used all of our strengths and skills and made it work. The only thing that we did have is that we were united under one cause, that we wanted to change things. And that was the driving force behind all of it, which it was really cool to see all of our hard work pay off and culminate into these big rallies and an agenda and flyers for our rally and posters and getting the bill passed through the assembly, because that just goes to show you that hard work truly does pay off. So it was great. And in my opinion, it was extremely imperative for the legislators to see that we are not an expendable group, that we need our voices to be heard. A lot of the times they also believe that we're one and done, meaning we rally one time and then we go away. In my opinion, they believe this because there is challenges for the ably different community when we advocate. And one of the biggest challenges, even though there's many, is that it's difficult for us to travel around, right? Because some of us have mobility issues. So I wanted to eliminate those issues by fundraising and getting some money to allow for transportation to take us up there. And once I did that, and we were able to get a charter bus and a few other transportation services, we were able to show the legislators that, hey, we are here and our voices matter. And it was just an overall great experience. And I can't wait to do it again next year.
How do you maintain work-life balance?
I haven't quite figured that out yet. My work-life balance is non-existent. Just because I am doing so much and I am doing two things that I love, which is my advocacy work and being a speech therapist. So really my day is just about taking every little bit of moment that I do have and putting it to good use, whether it be working and getting my stuff done for work, or whether it be organizing events or doing speaking engagements. I use every minute of my day to get something done. But my mom always said, when you're doing things that you love, it doesn't feel like work. So these two things don't feel like work to me because I absolutely love them. And I do have a great support system. Whatever I couldn't get done or needed help doing, my mom, my aunt, everyone would step in and help me out. But it was difficult. I had to give up something in order to do this. And unfortunately, that was the podcast. And I miss talking to my listeners and checking in with you guys and putting out new episodes for you guys. But this was something that was definitely necessary. And it still is necessary because a lot of services for the ably different community are changing in New York State. And it's not changing for the better. So I felt like I needed to speak up and speak out and be a part of creating that change. I could no longer sit by the sidelines and do nothing. But when I do get a little bit of downtime, I do like to go out to concerts or hang out with my friends. So I do make time to do that as well. It's just very crunched into other things that I have to do, but I do make time for that as well.
How do you feel when people tell you that you're an inspiration to them?
I feel extremely, extremely grateful because if I could be the catalyst of change to help other people and the catalyst of change for people to do something different with their lives, then that means I'm doing my part in this world and it just makes me extremely grateful. But I feel like we have it all in us to do something great, right? If we can just tap into our strengths and we find what we're passionate about, boy, the things that we could do in this world to change the world, it would be great.
So I had an experience with you when we went to the Chris Brown concert and everyone was looking at me and asking me questions as if I paid for the tickets. And I had to keep stepping out of the way and directing them towards you. And they looked confused. In those situations, how do you combat that? Because really it's just ignorance, because you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's just something that I had to deal with my whole life. So sometimes I will shrug it off and then other times it's extremely frustrating because it's like, what about my wheelchair dictates my intellect, dictates who I am, dictates anything about me. It's just something that I use to ambulate in. So it does get frustrating, but I also think it's just the society that we live in. Societal perceptions of people who are ably different is that we don't really do much of anything. We're not capable of doing anything. And so sometimes that can be projected in the way that people interact with us. And I just think it takes more people seeing us out in the community doing different things to shatter those misconceptions. So I always try to do my part. But yeah, it is definitely frustrating and it's just a part of ignorance. So you combat ignorance with knowledge.
So basically what you're saying is you're just like everybody else and you're just limited with your mobility.
Exactly.
And so like everybody else, sometimes they start dating and they have all of these other things going on in their life. Would you like to share?
No, I keep that side of my life extremely private because I am becoming more relevant on social media. So yeah, I'm going to just keep it private for now.
Okay. I know you mentioned already that your mom and your family, you have like a good support unit. Can you share more about why that's important?
So having a great support system is everything because number one, we need to stand on somebody else's shoulders to get where we need to go, right? So that's why it's extremely important. But for ably different individuals, in my opinion, it is the difference between being productive and not productive. And for people out there who possibly don't have a great support system, I would say never give up, keep persevering because my mom always said when one door closes, the side door opens, the back door opens. Somebody's going to open that door and give you a way in. So just never give up. It's extremely important to never ever give up.
You got a D-Stacks beat?
So I know I said that you would be interviewing me, but I cannot pass up the opportunity to ask you some questions.
Sure.
So I know you mentioned earlier in the episode that you helped me with fundraising, and you did. Can you please share from your perspective what you thought about the fundraising?
I thought it was very difficult to get $1 out of people and I didn't really enjoy it. But I will say this, the popcorn was so good that the second time when you did the fundraiser, I just bought a bunch. But I was so inspired because it takes a lot of guts and determination to pull off something like that. Most of the time we do those things for ourselves, but it was really for a bigger purpose. And that's what inspires me, period.
So you said that it was harder to get $1 out of people. Why do you think that was the case?
Most of the people that I contacted first were family members, just because I don't really talk a lot on the phone. And the friends that I know would probably be like co-workers or just some personal friends that I have. And a lot of people just always have a lot of different things going on. It's not that they're unwilling to give, but it might just be so many other things. And I had to really explain to them the whole purpose of it all. And that's when people got it. They were like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was one of the difficulties I found as well. Just getting the message across in the most effective way was the most difficult part as well. But after I did things the old school way and called people, a lot of people were like, I'm inspired now to get into politics just like you are. Did you feel inspired to go into politics or do some advocacy work?
Recently, we did the phone bank.
That was interesting, honestly. And I like that we got to do it together.
We'd like to do some polling. I signed up to go to the watch party for the debate. I didn't actually go. I was a little too tired and went home and watched the debate from home. But like, these are things that I would never do. But I think from seeing you out there and about, it's like, okay, well, let me try. Let me see what it is.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I've always participated in the voting process, but only when I needed to during election time. Now I find myself more immersed in the process and I actually want a seat at the table now. So who knows, I might be a politician one day, but I feel like it's so important to have a seat at the table because I feel like these legislators are making decisions for us and we are not even sitting at the table to say yes or no, this isn't going to work for us. So I definitely think that if we had more of a seat at the table, things would be moving for us in a more positive direction. And so yeah, that's why I decided to get more immersed into politics. And I actually love it. This past year has been a roller coaster ride, but it has been a fun one. And I've learned so much about myself through the journey. And I'm just so proud of how far I've come and how much I've grown. And so yeah, I can definitely see a future for me in politics one day because I want to make change on a bigger scale. So now I'm just in this space where I want to try new things, go down different avenues and see where it leads and takes me. But I'm definitely loving the journey and the process.
What I like most about you is that you're just so fearless. I think in terms of myself, I really will observe, things for a while before I make a decision. I'm just like, I don't know. It might just be a generational thing, but I like the fact that you're just so fearless and that you will try.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to try. I mean, it's not without fear myself, but I look at every opportunity as a chance to build my resume. So I get to put on my resume that I did this and that I did that. So it makes me more employable. So I'm definitely going to put myself out there and try new things for that very reason. And every opportunity leads to another opportunity. And experience is a great teacher. So that's how I ended up where I'm at now. I tried something and it led to other opportunities and I'm just enjoying the journey, enjoying the moments, and I'm loving every minute of it. And did you feel inspired to do anything differently in your life now?
Well, I had explored, my first undergrad degree was in social work, and for the past 2 decades or so, I had been teaching in the state of Georgia, and I wanted to go back to get my master's in something closer to teaching, like behavioral science. The only knowledge that I had of a speech pathologist or understanding was that they made a little bit extra money, but I didn't really know the power and the importance of it all. And after learning that and watching you work, I thought that would be a better fit for me.
I'm glad you decided to go into speech therapy. And I'm glad I could be the one to help you make that decision.
Yeah.
What do you think is next for you?
Wow, that's a great question. I think about that every day. But I know I definitely want to complete the master's program. I want to engage and do more with that kind of work. But I just feel so open to the possibility of trying things that are outside of my comfort zone.
So even though you were interviewing me, I always like to ask my guests, what is one quote that you live by? It is time for the quote of the episode.
One quote that I live by is always going to come from a Maya Angelou poem or book. But lately, I like the one she said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I'm really, really following that as a guide.
Oh, so you're in your find out who people really are era. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on today, Dina. I had so much fun.
Me too.
And I hope we get to do this again.
Absolutely.
And I would like to end this episode, guys, by saying, please go vote. November 5th is election day. Voting is how we make our voices heard. So once again, please go vote. It is super important. We need to get out that vote. So once again, November 5th is election day, and please vote.
And let's not forget about Project 2025. For those of you that are not familiar with it, you can Google it. That information is out there as well.
It definitely is. If you would like to reach me or any of my guests that you have heard on the podcast, you can reach us at queensonaroll.podcast@gmail.com. Again, the email is queensonaroll.podcast@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Queens on a Roll. And again, to subscribe to the show, all you have to do is click the plus button in the upper right hand corner on any of your streaming platforms. And we are rolling out. See you guys soon.